is Joe Bitar.
This is Ramon Robles.
And we talk to fascinating people about their love of hunting, shooting sports, and the outdoors. This is Hunting Matters. So what have you been up to?
It's hot. I don't know if you know that. Hot.
Yeah. I saw a few trees down on the way over
You
here.
know, if hurricanes happened in the wintertime around here, it wouldn't be so bad.
No.
But because, you don't have power, well, take 100-degree weather.
Right.
But things are going to be good. We're talking to somebody I'm a little intimidated by.
Yep.
Just because of his product. Everybody knows it.
Yep.
It's just one of those things where you go, oh, my God, he's going to be on our show?
Yep.
So...
Yeah, and when we talked to him today, he did give us a personal invitation to come out to their headquarters in Oregon.
I've already considered him my new best friend.
All right, Bruce Pettet, the president and CEO of Leupold Stevens, is with us today, and we get a real basic education on sporting optics and long range optics. And Ramon is currently filling up his basket on the Leupold website. Join us this week on Hunting Matters with Bruce Pettet.
So, Bruce, where are you right now? Where are you sitting at?
So I'm in Beaverton, Oregon, at our factory.
And
so this is where we make all of our rifle scopes.
It's a good place to be right now.
And how long have you guys been in Beaverton?
So we've actually been in Beaverton since we've been in the Portland area for 117 years.
Yep.
And we've been in Beaverton since 68.
Oh, so a little while.
Yeah, a little while. We've got a little history here.
Yeah. I've got my oldest son actually lives in Portland, outside of Portland.
Oh, really?
So,
Nice.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit. So there's going to be some people that are listening to our show today. And if you're in the hunting and outdoor world, you know the name Leupold. I mean, the name is synonymous with excellence and fantastic optics and things. But can you give us kind of a little bit of a history lesson on the company and kind of where we are today?
Yeah, I can actually. We're a fifth generation family owned business, 117 years old, fifth generation family ownership. So it's a kind of a pretty special place. There's not very many companies that are still around that have, that kind of longevity and family ownership. And we make all of any optic that you're going to put on any kind of a firearm and look through it and pull the trigger. We make right here in our factory in Beaverton, Oregon. So we have about 750 employees, and we make rifle scopes 7 days a week. So it's really a special place. We've been blessed. We've got great team members and great heritage, and the brand continues to grow. So it's pretty cool.
It's amazing to me how far optics have come just in recent history. Not a lot, just aside from 20 years ago, but just even in the past 5 to 10 years. I mean, all you hear about, and again, we have people that listen to the show that really aren't that familiar with hunting and outdoors. Maybe this may be their first introduction to that realm, but all the buzz is long range shooting. Where are you taking your long range shooting courses? How far are you shooting? How far did you shoot last weekend? And we're not even talking about hunting animals. We're just talking about going to the range and shooting. Have you gotten swallowed up in that? I'm guessing you have, considering your position as CEO of Leupold.
Oh, you mean personally or as a company?
No, personally.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of do it all. I mean, I'm a hunter first. I mean, I've, hunting since I was little. And so that's my passion. I absolutely love being in the field. But, the cool thing we've got now is for example, we have a range out in Madras, Oregon, which is about 2.5 hours away, where you can go and, shoot long range and shoot out to a mile, which is pretty neat, and get some incredible instruction. It's private. So we use it for, our engineers and our team, and we do some training with, law enforcement and tier 1 and things like that. But the other thing that's cool about it is we set up a hunter course out there. It's kind of similar to what an NRL hunter course would be. So long range shooting in a hunting kind of platform, right? And that's great training. So you get the great mix. I really love that whole kind of mix of, having to be in a situation where you figure out how you're going to get stable and get a good shot. You got to find either the plate or the animal. We'll have an elk plate and a sheep plate, and it's actually a 7-mile course, I think, is what they've got it mapped out as. Wow. So you actually have to cover it too. So yeah, I'm fully in. That's what we do. We got a great team of users here. So we definitely make sure that we know a lot about our product before we put it out with our consumers.
Right. How did you guys go from, when this all started ramping up, this long range shooting, that sort of thing, How did you transition your R&D pipeline, your product development strategies to address this? I mean, because, when it first starts coming along, people are like, yeah, we shot out to 1,000 yards. And then you hear military people shooting a mile away and that sort of thing. I'm sure that had to change the way you guys do business as far as planning it way back when we first started going into this world.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that difficult for us in the sense that we'd always done things with the military all along. So we've been, I think, a leader in long range optics the whole time, whether it's hunting use or whether it's military use. And so for us, it was just, really when you get to kind of what somebody looks for in a PRS type of product, like our Mark V is pretty dominant on the PRS circuit right now. And that product, a lot of it's just listening to the users, listening to consumers and what are they looking for, and, developing the proper reticle that allows them to do what they need to do. And so it's for us that it wasn't that difficult. But it's still, you think about our product, like we guarantee it for life, right? So it doesn't matter if you give it to your grandson, we still guarantee it for his life. And so the reality of making a product that's going to be, work in any temperature, that's going to work, a certain amount underwater, that's going to, be waterproof, and then it's going to have incredibly clear optics, at any type of light. It's a lot. So we just do that every single day and make sure that's what we're delivering. But you got to listen to your users, whether it's a military user or a long range shooting competitor or frankly, a hardcore hunter. They all have different things that they want in their optic, and you just got to be able to really listen and then get your engineering team to develop that kind of product that's going to meet their needs.
A question that's been bothering me since I found out exactly where Beaverton is. Where do you, and that's my ignorance, it's all, I didn't realize it was so close to Portland. Where does your college allegiance sway then?
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I'm an Arizona State Sun Devil fan.
Perfect.
So I don't make any friends up here. I spent my first couple of years there. My whole family's gone there. I've got my daughter graduated, my son, my nephew, my sister. I've got my whole family's come out of there. Okay. So that's where my allegiance is.
Sun Devil. Got it. That's pretty.
Yeah, I don't have I like both. I like Oregon State and Oregon Equal. And I've got about a 50-50 employee base. So it works out pretty good.
Well spoken by the president CEO that manages a company of 750 employees that are divided allegiance. My parents used to live in South Carolina. And when I went out there and visited them for the first time, they were having the Clemson, South Carolina game that week. And I've never seen anything like it. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were like people arguing in between cubicles in these offices and stuff. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I can imagine the intrastate rival there, as every college has. But yeah, you're kind of Switzerland, aren't being from Arizona State. You
listen, the Oregon State people don't like Arizona State either. So it's just not as much of a dislike.
Yeah. This is true. Yeah. How did you first get into the outdoor world? Is this your first job in the outdoor world, or I've been
in the sporting goods business my whole career.
Okay.
In different ways, shape, and form. So I've been at Leupold over 10 years now. And for me, I was in the kind of performance sports area prior to this. But, still did stuff. I'd been to SHOT Show before and, on different things we'd done. And so I had pretty good familiarity. When this opportunity came about, it was a perfect fit for me because, even though I played sports growing up and, I really felt like for me and always passionate about it, this was ultimately my favorite sport was always hunting. And so when I had the opportunity to do what I do here, it was a really perfect fit. I've been in and around this business my whole career.
The reason we ask that is because there are a lot of young adults, listening that are, that's one of the big things that Houston Safari Club Foundation does. We really like to focus on those students at that high school level and then at the college level. And we actually do a day of career training at our annual convention for high school students that are looking at, okay, what's next in life? And it's always fun to hear people's stories, about how they got in here. And because I get people going, man, you got the coolest job in the world. How do I do this? And I'm like, well, let's go back because I'm a registered nurse by degree that actually fell in the outdoor world about 20 years ago. But it's neat. And how cool is it to be able to work, and do a job in an area that you love?
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. I mean, we encourage that with our team members is if, I love that, we're passionate about what we do. I mean, I never have a day where I'm like, man, I got to, I don't want to go in, to be able to come here every day and work on the things we get to work. It's not all easy. And I deal with a lot of stuff that's not fun.
Yeah.
But the reality of being able to do it in this industry and this business is, I know I'm blessed. And here's the other thing, you guys, it's the best industry in the world for the people.
Right.
Like the other people, like the other CEOs that I get to work with, whether it's Jason Hornady, all the guys, Travis Hall at Browning, and they're all good friends of mine that I get to work with a lot as partners. And so we just have a great, really good industry and good people in it. Yeah. And I think that's special.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, I've some of my favorite people I've met in the world, has been through this job and through this industry. Yeah. And it only takes you about 10 minutes around a campfire with some guys, and ladies, before you figure out, where this is going to go and what kind of relationships you'll build. And it's amazing how many long-term relationships I've built sitting around a campfire, talking about what we just did, in the field that day. And it's just,
it's funny,
it's really
we talk
unique.
Sometimes and we're always like, one of our criteria is, when we're evaluating someone, is that someone you'd want to be having your hunt camp?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great answer. Like, yeah, I would. I'd love. And then, that fits the culture.
Right. Exactly.
We're just so fortunate that this is what we get to do for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are, Joe and I chit-chatting with people like yourself who went out and decided, you know what? I don't want to push paper. I don't want to do anything like that. I want to create something. I want to not come into work. I don't want to work a day in my life. And, you just got to stop, especially during a hurricane while people are out, moving trees and all that. You think, man, my life's all right. I'm in a good way.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I have one of those binoculars behind you?
That's a spotting scope. He wants that spotting scope above your head. I know what he's got his eye on.
I was looking at the binocs behind him, but yeah, I'll take a spotting scope.
And also, not to mention, one of the coolest logos in the world.
I know. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty neat. We invented the duplex reticle. That was at one time our patent. So that's pretty special.
Very cool. Hunting Matters is sponsored by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Under the visionary leadership of founder Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's is leading North America's largest conservation movement. Together with their partners in conservation, they're positively shaping the future of the outdoors through donations, grant making, and advocacy. The 501c3 Outdoor Fund raises funds to support conservation efforts by activating more than 200 million passionate sportsmen and women, rounding up their purchases in Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores and online. Visit BassPro.com or Cabela's.com today.
Turn a gun you like into one you love. You'll shoot better with the Boyd's Hardwood Gun Stock. Upgrade your firearm to Boyd's and your gun will fit you better and look better. Boyd's uses only top-grade hardwoods because a hardwood stock performs. Boyd's gun stocks are engineered to fit precisely on its specified gun model. Their engineers have continued to perfect manufacturing methods since 1981. That's why you get far more gun stock for your money. Boyd's makes gun stocks for hundreds of gun brands and thousands of models. Shoot better today at boydsgunstocks.com. Nobody wants to imagine an emergency on a hunting trip, but when the unexpected happens, you want the team of medical and security experts at Global Rescue to be there for you. Global Rescue Operations Centers are staffed by experienced personnel, and you'll always speak to an expert on the first call. With unparalleled capabilities to transport members to their home hospital of choice, you'll get back to your preferred hospital, not the closest. So, trade what-ifs for peace of mind with convenient travel services designed for the unexpected. Learn more at globalrescue.com/huntingmatters.
Gunworks is a Cody, Wyoming-based manufacturer and provider of premium long-range rifle systems, optics, components, and training. Since 2006, Gunworks has led the charge in innovating and engineering premium quality long-range shooting technology, equipment, and techniques with a singular goal of providing hunters the ability to achieve quick and effective one-shot kills at whatever distances shots are encountered. The Gunworks team is dedicated to service and perfection in purpose-built products ready for 1,000 yards out of the box. Learn more at gunworks.com. That's GUNWERKS.com. You alluded to it before. You guys do the consumer market as well as the military. Just curious, is it what percentage of Leupold's business is military versus just general consumer?
It's general consumers are biggest. Yeah. So our core hunting and shooting customers are by far the biggest. Military's a decent percentage, but it's not, it's less than 20% overall.
Yeah.
So
I'm guessing, and you could tell me to mind my own business. I'm just kind of a nerd for these kind of things, but I'm guessing the snipers love you guys.
Yeah, we do well with that first tier. We do really well with them. And the U.S. Army now, we got a lot of the long range contracts that are out there. So I'm really proud of that. Whether it starts at what we do at the very highest level, which is CAG, all the way to the various different groups. We've been able to have. I think it's a really good business for us. But more importantly, we know that we're. I talk about all the time. One of our kind of core purpose is that we work to create epic moments here. And for me, an epic moment is when I know that we're putting a product on one of our warfighters that I know is going to work when it has to. And that, it gives me chills when I talk about that, because for me, that's an epic moment. And I talk to our team about that all the time. It's like, listen, you get to come into a place every day where you are making the world's best product. I said, we're never going to focus at Leupold and Stevens. We'll never focus on being the biggest. I do not care about that. My shareholders don't care about that. We're going to focus on being the best, so that we know when we put that product on someone that it's going to work, and it's going to work when they have to. Because we might have a lifetime guarantee, you guys, but the truth is, I don't want to use that. Sure. I want to guarantee performance, because if that guy gets that tag of a lifetime and he's on the top of a mountain chasing a sheep, it's got to work. There's no FedEx that shows up to give you another rifle scope. And certainly way more important when you talk about first responders or, our war fighters, it's got to happen. That product absolutely has to work.
I'm guessing it's pretty cool. I'm guessing you get some of those guys come back, and hanging out around your offices there and telling the stories and stuff like that. I'm sure you guys, especially you, get to meet a lot of cool people. I've got friends who are still active, but several that are former, Navy SEAL team members and stuff. But I could sit and listen not that they tell me everything, but I could sit and listen to what they share for hours. That's got to be a real boost. That's got to be a cool boost for your staff and your team there as well.
Yeah, I a couple years ago, I don't know if you knew Kyle Lamb is, but Kyle was pretty decorated guy, and he was one of the first guys off the helicopters in Mogadishu, Black Hawk Down, right? So Kyle and I went on a mule deer hunt in Utah together, and that was just absolutely incredible. And the things that you hear and know that someone like that went through and experienced is pretty epic.
Yeah,
pretty epic. So.
Yeah, it's like the old what the old movie saying is, you want to lay your head down on the pillow at night and not worry about all this stuff. And I 100% agree. You guys go do your jobs, and we'll support you. And I've got a kid in the military and the Navy as well, so I'm a big supporter. But it's special people like that go out and do the work that nobody else can do or wants to do.
For sure. And, look, I'm not a big fan of paying taxes, but if I know my taxes are at least going that way, it makes me feel a little bit better about it.
We were down at when my son first got in the Navy. He went to A school in Pensacola, and he said, "Y'all should come down. The Angels, the Blue Angels are going to fly." I'm like, "Man, I was never a big air show guy." So we went down, and we actually saw them. They do a July spectacular flight show, and the Angels came over and flew that beach in Destin, Florida. Yeah. And I was out there floating in the water just like everybody else, every other redneck down there. And we're all sitting floating in the water. And the guy's in an inner tube next to me. He's got 2 beers in his hands. And I looked at him. I didn't even know this guy. I was like, that was pretty cool. He goes, worth every tax dollar I pay.
He's right.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you love? What keeps you going? I mean, obviously this job, you love this job and everything about it. But I mean, you still have to, you still got to push paper. You still got to deal with HR issues. Still got to deal with all those things like that. So, what is it that you find is like probably your favorite part of the job? Is it development? Is it new technology? Is it working with users? What is it for you?
Yeah, for me, I tend to lean more into the brand and product side. So, we've got a special brand, and so continue to build that brand. And, our platform is Be Relentless. I think that's been really special for us because it's such a positive thing for our consumer, and it hits them right on. It's just, whether it's being relentless about, what you want to do on a hunt, or being relentless about going after your goals and preparing, Or, even we talk about it in the company about being relentless about quality. For me, it's that side of it is that brand and product side is where I tend to lean most. So marketing, sales, and product. Mm-hmm. But I do it all. It's part of the job. I gotta be proficient at all the areas. But I have a great team, and so I've been over the last 10 years been able to build a team that I really am pretty sure is as good as they get in this industry. And so they're awesome to work with, whether it's the finance side or HR side or anything. I've got great team members that work with me.
And how cool is it to work and represent a brand that's got such history, legacy, integrity? I mean, all those words kind of fall into play. I mean, everybody knows that's in the outdoor world, or the long range shooting world, or the military world. They know Leupold is almost like asking for a Kleenex. I mean, it's almost, I don't mean to downgrade it, but it's almost the tissue of the optics business. Somebody goes, it's Leupold, what you got on your gun over there? Well, it's my new Leupold scope. And it's everybody knows the name. It's impressive. So that's got to be a blast, especially a guy like you that has such an affinity for marketing and history marketing to be able to go in and go, okay, we've got a great brand here. Here's the keys to the Cadillac. Let's don't wreck it. But how do you, some people have new brands. Some people have brands that are kind of hit a plateau. But I mean, you guys just keep going and going and going. So I'm curious from your perspective, how do you look at things, product development, marketing message, reach, all those things? How do you look at those things around such a famous and integral brand in this market to go, okay, now what are we going to do? What's next? What's new? What's a different way we can tell our story? Because you got a great story and you got a great legacy. So how do you take it to the next level?
Well, we've had to do that. Honestly, a decade ago, we were, brands go through times, right? You have success, and then all of a sudden, maybe, the success wears off a little. And so, we had really needed to completely relook at our product line 10 years ago. It had become, I think, honestly, pretty stale. Mm. And so we began a real, long-term product process to redo our entire scope line, which we've done in the last 10 years. And that was really critical. At the same time, we had issues with, it was, we were kind of seen as dad's brand a little bit. Yeah, my dad has that, right? And I think that's fine, because there's a lot of guys, I'm almost 60, a lot of us who hunt, and I'm an all-time Leupold guy, but there was a lot of young consumers that, frankly, were probably trying other brands and doing other things. And so we had to, we really had to make sure that we made the brand relevant. Both to, in our industry, this isn't like basketball or something where your consumer is like 12 to 24. This is an industry where a lot of the money's spent at 55 to 65 or 40 to 50. Right. I mean, it's not just, 20 to 30. And so you've got to be, but they are relevant, right? Because it's a really flat curve when you go across the consumer spectrum. So you've got to pay attention to all of them, and they all consume information a different way. And, it's just very different. And so that's the kind of things that we had to work on, Joe. It's just really, how do we become relevant across all those places? And so we developed Be Relentless, and we've been with that now for, I think, 7 years. And we've got a great product team. I got 85 engineers working on product every day to build a line that is constantly exciting the consumer all the time. So I think where we go now is just, we got a bunch of stuff in front of us. In fact, I just finished working our next 5-year plan with my team last week, my product team. And it's exciting what we have coming down the line, because as you mentioned earlier, there's new technology that we can work with. We're continuing to do things around optics to make them more clarity, work better in low light. We manage low light really well. All of those things get us inspired about how do we take it to the next step. So the VX6, for example, our VX6 is probably maybe our competitors will disagree, but I can probably prove it. It's the number one hunting scope in the world. I mean, that thing is money, right? Yeah. And you put that baby on and you've got the scope. We're going to improve it. We're going to do some things to that's going to make it even better. Right. So constantly looking at how do you go to the next level, because that's what being relentless is about. It's never being satisfied. It's always looking at how do you go to the next level with it. So that's what inspires me, even if it's incremental stuff that you do. But when the consumer sees and goes, man, I can't believe this is so much better than the last one. That's how you kind of get to the next place. So we're going to keep doing that. We're not going to buy other brands. That's not our strategy. This is a family-owned business, and we are going to continue to build what we think is one of the greatest brands in our industry.
Yeah. Good.
Well, I was just looking at, he mentioned the VX6, and I'm looking at this thing, and it's like a stealth bomber. I mean, in terms of just the technology that's put into it. I mean, the electronic reticle level, I've never heard of that before.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just extraordinary.
Yeah, so what that does is if you're candid, when you're holding it's going to blink. It's going to let you know you're actually candid. You need to come back. And when it stops blinking, you know that now you don't have a cant issue.
That's phenomenal.
And then it pats you on the head and
yeah.
Fixes you a cup of coffee.
Makes you a cappuccino.
It's funny. No matter how well you know this land, you always seem to get lost in it. That's because it's your escape, your place to reconnect to nature and yourself. At Capital Farm Credit, we're proud to help people like you purchase recreational land where you can hunt, fish, four-wheel, or simply get lost in. To learn how we can help you secure land like this, visit CapitalFarmCredit.com. Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better.
Being on a shooting team provides our youth with valuable life skills like confidence, responsibility, and leadership. However, most of the nation's youth shooting teams have little or no funding. The Midway USA Foundation is a 501c3 public charity working to sustain and grow the shooting sports industry by providing long-term funding to thousands of these teams, probably one in your community. Learn how the Midway USA Foundation is changing the future of youth shooting sports. Visit midwayusafoundation.org.
Hey, I'm Trace Atkins, and if you grew up hunting like me, you know the importance of sound, or more importantly, silence. Every step, every breath, every move gets made with purpose. Silencers control the noise, and thanks to Silencer Central, buying one is now easier than ever. Plus, Silencer Central ships straight to your front door. Visit silencercentral.com/simple to see how you can get silence delivered.
When seconds matter in the game, every single decision made can mean a big win or a frustrating loss. When it comes to buying your next home and selling your existing home in the current market, every decision can mean serious money. Aggie fans, it's Dave South, and as you know, I've studied the best players and the best teams to represent our A&M family. One thing I've learned over the years, the best coaches have the respect of their team and the 12th man, you, the fans. In Bryan College Station, no realtor has more 5-star reviews on Google than Lance Lester and his team at the Lester Group. Why is that? Simple. No one offers more options that benefit you. If you want to buy your next home before you sell your current home, Lance can help you do that. If you want to know the date and price that you can count on your home selling for, Lance can guarantee it in writing. When the game is on the line, you want a leader with a proven track record calling the shots. Get your home sold faster and for the most money. Work with my friend Lance Lester and the Lester Group. Go to thelestergroup.com. That's thelestergroup.com and experience lightning in a bottle selling your home.
Hey, Bruce, let's take a step back a little bit. Leupold has always been synonymous with quality. And obviously, my wife has a saying. Because I used to, and Ramon's heard me say this before, when we first met,
52 years
34 years ago, 35 when we met. She used to have an affinity for really good sunglasses, really good shoes, and there was only one brand of toilet paper she bought. And I was like, these are three things she's going to die on that hill for. But I was like, man, I was the guy buying discount pharmacy store, a discount store, glasses off the rack. She bought me a pair of Oakleys, my first Oakleys, way back when. And I was like, man, that's expensive. And she goes, hey, pay peanuts, get monkeys. So, I mean, obviously, there's a huge spectrum in the optics market, everything from the as cheap as you can go to as expensive as you can go. And Leupold obviously is, unless I've missed something, is at the upper end of as far as the cost. You pay peanuts, get monkeys. But Ramon and I are coming to you today, and we are ready to take the step up to a Leupold scope. We've gotten with our Redfield 5-star medallion or whatever our dads gave us on our gun, shot, whatever. What should we be looking for if we're going to go? We want to go hunting. We want to do some long range shooting. What should we be looking for in a scope?
Yeah. So I think the first question is, what's your primary use?
Yeah.
What are you going to use it most for? What do you want to be like? Ultimately, I want it to be successful on this.
Yeah.
So if you say, I want this as a hunting scope, but I also want to be able to go shoot with it and train with it and do that, that's going to be a different answer than if you say, hey, I just want to shoot. I want to shoot long range. That's what I want to do. Because our scopes will work both ways, either one you get or either kind of way you go, whether you go a Mark series scope or a VX series scope. But I'm a hunter, right? That's what I am first and foremost. And so I'm always going to go the VX series way. Because I know I can still shoot long range with it. And depending upon what I'm going to hunt or how I want to shoot with it, then I'll pick my magnification for there. Right. So that's it. A whitetail hunter probably needs something a little bit different than someone who's going to be hunting in the West.
Sure.
Depending on where it is, And so I think it's just figuring out the primary use, and then we can help you. We got a ton of experts here that can help you right away. Go, okay, I get what you want. Here's what we recommend.
Got it. I'm probably, we're probably mountain shooting since you're going to buy me my next goat hunt.
Yeah.
My birthday's coming up next month.
That's a great friend.
he's laughing over there. He's like, I'm not buying you a goat hunt.
Bruce, you have some, and this is a compliment, especially down here in Texas. You have some Roger Clemens vibes about you. You just a tough dude who we all want to be friends with. What do you think is the biggest animal you could take down with your bare hands?
I have trouble. I got to tell you, man, I've got this hunting cocker and he ain't very big, but I'm going to tell you that sucker, he can come at you. I'm not sure I can handle him. But I don't know. I have no idea. I that's the good news about what I do is I don't have to use my hands.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Roger could definitely bring down a bigger one. I can tell you that.
I don't know.
What was that question you asked one time at one of our guests? Would you ever hunt a giant rabbit or a small bear, something like that?
Yeah. A duck-sized horse.
Yeah. Or
a horse-sized duck.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Something stupid. Don't mind us. Don't mind us.
We're just reminiscing. We hadn't slept much. I've been up at midnight putting gas in a generator for the last 3 nights.
What is the biggest natural disaster that would be of your concern up there in Oregon?
In Oregon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I pray that this never happens, but the big thing that we ever talk about here is tsunamis, right? That's the potential coming off the Pacific coast, so we're not that far from the coast. And so, that's the one, and obviously earthquakes. Those are the two that probably, kind of that combination of things going together is what, we have had the Red Cross come out and talk to us, and those are the things that are on the list. And so at some point there is going to be a major earthquake up here. That's the prediction. Yeah. Let's just hope it's a couple thousand years away still.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife and I were actually a couple of years ago, we were up visiting our son. We were like, let's go an afternoon. Let's go up to Cannon Beach and hang out and just look at the coastline. Had never seen it before. And we noticed so many homes up there that were for sale. And I asked the local guys, like, why are these homes for sale? They're like, a lot of these people putting their homes on the market because they're expecting a big earthquake or something the next few years. But I don't know if that's changed, but I thought it was pretty shocking, all the for sale signs out there.
Yeah, well, COVID changed that. Cannon Beach, all the prices went up a ton.
Oh, I bet.
It's out of control.
I bet.
That whole community over there. But the Oregon coast is special. That's a special place.
It's crazy beautiful. I mean, I think if you've never seen it,
it's underrated. It's overlooked.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we see the Texas coast.
You're right on, because people don't realize what it is, and I think outdoorsmen in general underrated. Like I have a place over just north of Cannon Beach in Gerhardt, and I have elk in my lawn. I have elk. I got Roosevelt elk on the beach.
Yep.
I took my dog out the other day and he flushed a pheasant. I'm like, this place is like off the charts, and it's really pretty special, when you get down to it in terms of, Oregon, obviously Portland gave Oregon some pretty serious black eye for a period of time and continues to be, I think it's getting a little bit better now, but continues to be a struggle. But the men and women that live here that fish and hunt, and they are true outdoors men and women. I really, I love that. I love that about our team and the opportunities we have. Last year, first time I ever did it in 10 years up here, but I was able to harvest a Roosevelt elk. And the first day I actually was hunting Roosevelt elk with a tag, and I also have my bear tag, a black bear tag. and happened to be, I looked over in another clearing and there was a black bear. So I was able to one day kill a black bear and the next day harvest a Roosevelt elk. That's like, where can you do that?
Yeah.
That's pretty special.
That's crazy.
And not pay a general sales
honestly,
tax.
guys, I was about 20 miles from the coast.
Really?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not pay a sales tax.
What's that?
And not have sales tax.
Yeah.
I mean, no sales tax. Get you a bear.
Yep.
Yeah. But we have plenty of property taxes though. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And we had
state income tax will get you too. So we got those, but it's a great place to live.
That's true.
It is. It's, every place you go has its issues, but
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we're not even talking about the fishing opportunities that are up there. I mean, it's just incredible.
we
It's
haven't
just
touched that.
crazy, beautiful country.
Hunting Matters is presented by DEA Ranch. Are you looking for the ultimate South Texas hunting experience? Then look no further than DEA Ranch. DEA Ranch offers some of the best whitetail and exotic game hunts in South Texas year-round. Whether you're looking to fill your freezer or put the next hunting memory on the wall, their professional guides are focused on ensuring each client has a memorable and exciting hunting experience. DEA Ranch offers guided hunts, professional staff, chef-prepared meals, trophy preparation, and more. To learn more, go to DEARanch.com. That's DEARanch.com.
The Houston Safari Club Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports the future of hunting and conservation. Wildlife and habitat conservation, youth education and outdoor experiences, scholarships, and anti-poaching efforts are just a few of the programs supported by this organization. Monthly events, an annual convention, award-winning publications, networking opportunities, and valuable resources for hunting knowledge are just a few of the benefits of being a member of Houston Safari Club Foundation. If you're searching for a group of people dedicated to protecting the future of hunting, look no further. Join Houston Safari Club Foundation today at wehuntwegive.org or call 713-623-8844.
Hunting Matters is presented by RC Cartridges. Founded in Italy in 1970, RC Cartridges is a family-owned business dedicated to technology, innovation, and shooting excellence. RC has a historic legacy as a provider of ammunition for Olympic champions, and they are constantly evolving with the goal of producing the highest quality cartridges available. RC is as passionate about shooting and hunting as you are. Whether it's hunting or shooting, steel or small caliber, RC Cartridges has the shotgun shell options to meet your needs. Go to rccartridgesusa.com to learn more. That's rccartridgesusa.com. Are you interested in breeding exotic wildlife as a method of generating cash flow for your ranching operation? Wildlife Partners is an innovative wildlife conservation company that is the largest breeder, buyer, and seller of exotic wildlife in America. Let them show you how wildlife breeding and ranching can help secure the future of animal species while generating cash flow and substantial first-year tax deductions. Wildlife Partners serves more than 500 private landowners in Texas and numerous conservation-minded investors throughout the U.S. Non-landowners can also own wildlife. To learn more, go to wildlifepartners.com.
Bruce, we do, our organization, Houston Safari Club Foundation, does a lot of work with Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation. I know you're on the board of several organizations, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation, the board of directors of Honored American Veterans, Afield, and others. Obviously, you have a lot on your plate in your day-to-day job, but you carve out this time to serve on these other boards for these other organizations. Tell our audience a little bit about why you do that, what you're called to do that.
Well, one of our values is called thoughtful stewardship. And so you have to live that. And it means that we as a company, myself personally as a leader, but also we as a company need to do two things. We need to support them with what we can. And being on the National Shooting Sports Foundation for 9 years now has been a great experience for me because I think we are the front line for our industry. We're the trade organization and we are the ones that are fighting the fight in terms of making sure that we protect our Second Amendment rights and protect our industry. And so that one I'm very passionate about that. And then also all the conservation organization work. So CSF does great work on making sure that, on not only a national level, but a state level that we're making sure that we protect hunters and fishermen's rights because we're constantly under attack. And so we give to all of the organizations, whether it's Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, you name it, go across the board, Mule Deer Foundation, we support everyone. Because we believe in conservation and we believe in the importance of not only how successful the North American conservation model has been, but continuing to support that and making sure we have opportunities to be in the outdoors. So it's a big deal to us. And I take the time because I'm passionate about it. It's the one thing that for me, I mean, people donate their time to different things and usually it's all for good purpose. So for mine, it's conservation. I want to make sure that my grandkids have the opportunity to experience what I do, what I've had. And that's super important to me.
Yeah. Awesome. While we're on that topic, can you educate our listening audience to the legislation that was just defeated in Oregon that can affect hunting?
Yeah,
I know Congressional Sportsman's just put out.
It just didn't make the ballot,
right?
Which right. I'm going to give that a credit to the efforts of CSF and other organizations. We have one here called the Oregon Hunters Association, OHA, which we're the title sponsor of. They are very, very good at fighting here in Oregon, and they are on the ground level. But CSF, RMEF, a lot of organizations were really kind of calling that bill, because I think what happens a lot, you guys, is, like it or not, we as hunters and fishermen, but outdoors men and women, we're sleepy. Mm-hmm. We wait too long. We don't get involved early enough. We're not tenacious enough early. And if we just think, well, that's crazy, that's never going to go through. And then all of a sudden we wake up one day and they have enough votes. And then they get crazy money that comes in from out of state to fund all these advertisements that are saying things that aren't true. This protects animals. Well, that particular bill that they were trying to is insane. It would almost wipe out ranching. You couldn't have a gun dog. I mean, it went on down the line with absolutely banning hunting. Mm-hmm. That's what it was a ban on hunting and fishing to an extent, right? Yeah. And so you got to educate, and we as hunters have to get involved early so that we're educating. There's a whole group in the middle that are just agnostic to it. You got the crazies over here on the left that they're going to always be pushing stuff, and we'll never convince them. They are what they are, right? And they're funded by people generally not in the state, I can tell you, because I've watched it happen. But then you've got these folks in the middle that actually, they're not against hunting. They want it to be done ethically, and the things that we do and we promote, right? Yeah. And so we support a lot of anti-poaching initiatives with Boone and Crockett. That's one of the things we've done in our history as a company, because we believe it should be done ethically and do it right. And so it's educating them and making sure that stuff never makes it to the ballot, because once it gets there, they usually throw enough advertising at it where they got these crazy commercials that don't tell the truth and do it, kind of guide people one way, where they go to the ballot box and like, oh yeah, I love animals. I don't want to hurt animals. I think I'll check that. Right. Yeah. And so I think that's the thing that we have to be aware of. And that's what happened early in this one. But what I'll tell you is they've already laid a petition out to come back in 2 years.
Yeah.
They're already getting go for in 2026, they're going to be back, and we got to be ready.
Well, I think you made a couple of valid points. First of all, the fact that it even got to that point that we're even having these conversations on a state-by-state basis is alarming. And you're right. We as a community of people, of conservationists that love to hunt and fish, we always seem to be, my time in this industry, it's always seemed to be, we're always caught on our heels. We're always more in a defensive position, not an offensive position. Anti-hunting groups definitely spend a lot of money. They have a lot of proactive things going on, everything from Center for Biological Diversity to, PETA and all those things, the usual names. I think CBD is actually one of our biggest threats that people don't know about, because they're a very litigious organization. But what do we do, Bruce? I mean, we have these conversations every year. We sit in these conference rooms. We have these conversations. You're involved with a lot of different organizations. I mean, let's all get together and put our money together. Let's all get together and work together. But it just never seems to happen. I'm not being critical of anybody. It's just a reality.
Yeah, you've nailed it, Joe. I feel exactly the same way. I spend a lot of time on that exact topic, which is how do we do this together? Mm-hmm. How do we have to get together, because I can tell you, as someone who works with a lot of the different organizations, they all come to us. They want a sponsorship. They want and we give it to them. But man, I would sure really like it if we had a way to do one thing together that is bigger. So somehow, I don't know what the exact answer to that is, but somehow we've got to bring it all together so that when we go, whether it's to Washington or whether we've got to go and buy in a particular state because we got something like what's going on in Colorado right now, that we've got to go and spend the money to educate and not just have this splinter going on between, what is sheep doing, or what is elk doing, or what is DSC doing, or what, whoever it is, right?
Right.
We've got to come together.
Yeah.
And figure that one out. So I think that's one of our biggest challenges is we're fragmented and they're not. They're organized. Very organized.
And I may be oversimplifying it. Maybe I'm not thinking through all the details, but from a PR standpoint, to be able to fight these things at the ballot level, there's the legal aspect, there's marketing, there's messaging, there's advertising, there's a variety of different ways you can attack certain issues. But how great would it be that if every conservation organization, every manufacturer that makes money off of the outdoor world, hunting, conservation, fishing, whatever, if we could get together and even if we could get together and identify a PR firm or a group or somebody that is our conduit for messaging and be proactive, everybody kicks in a little bit of money, everybody has a little bit of input, and let everybody put their agendas down on the table and go, you know what, this is for the greater good. We're gonna support this effort. We're gonna kick in a little bit, but it just never seems to quite get there.
Well, I think there's some people thinking about that now, Joe. Some conversations I've had.
Oh, you can count us in.
Conversations about some folks that are really considering that in a big way. And here's what'll happen. If it does happen, whoever's able to do that will have the industry behind them. Mm-hmm. Because all of us, and I can name 15 of the major companies in this industry that will go, okay, that's what we've been asking for. Let's do this.
Right.
And all of a sudden they'll get some significant backing too from industry, not just individuals, to do something bigger.
Yeah.
Now I do think that supporting CSF, for example, and NSSF and organizations like that do things more globally are good ways to go right now. Because CSF does fight a lot of those fights.
Right.
So that's a really good way to go. NSSF also, and they get into on hunting issues as well. So there's some, and they work together. So there's organizations out there that do it. But I still think it's not even close to what we could do if we really got unified.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Here's hoping that we do get that done. What's the coolest, newest thing that the public should know about coming out from Leupold, either just released or something you can kind of share with us? There's only a few people. It's just me and Ramon, so you can go ahead and just tell us.
Yeah, we got a couple. We got so many new things. One thing we just released, which is super cool, is it's a rangefinder called the RX 5000. It's a 5,000 yard rangefinder, so it's just a handheld rangefinder. It's insanely fast and accurate, so that's the first thing. But the other thing that's really cool is it will automatically. So let's say that you've spotted a mule deer, and he's 1,000 yards away, and you're able to range him. It's gonna drop a pin onto your Onyx map automatically. So it'll work on other maps as well. But we partnered with Onyx initially to launch this. So you're going to look at it and you're going to know exactly where that deer is. And what's cool about it out west in particular, but it's same with whitetail, whatever. The reality is you're going to know, is he on public land? Is he on private land? Is that my unit? I tell you, last year I was on a hunt in Utah and I had a mule deer that I was hunting, and he was right on the border of Wyoming and Utah. Shooting him in Wyoming is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So I had to really wait and be really certain that deer was coming back. He eventually did, and we were able to make it happen. But those are the kind of things that are really neat with that. The other thing too is if you have to go, if you want to see where you actually made the shot and you want to go be able to trail him from there, if he's gone X amount of yards, when you're that far away, let's say you've taken a 300, 400 yard shot and you're down a ravine. When you come up the other side, you're like, God, that doesn't look anything like it was looking like over there.
Right.
Right. And so just having that ability to be right exactly where you had sent that pin, and you can walk right to it and go, oh yeah, there's the blood. That's where we start. There's so many uses for it, and it's really, really cool in terms of what it does.
Yeah.
So
that's very cool. That's very cool.
I'm looking at it right now. I think for me, this is going to be a very expensive interview.
What's good is you get the friends and family discount, the
fantastic.
VIP thing, because you are a part of the conservation world.
I hope my wife hears that.
Well, just tell her.
Deal.
Just tell her the same thing you hear from her and I hear from mine. But it was on sale.
Yeah.
I got a discount.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I got a discount.
5,000 yards.
That's cool. Yeah. Bruce, what's the next? I know it's still just summertime, and obviously we're lamenting hurricane season this year, but what's your next big hunt you got lined up? I know you got something planned.
Next? I'm going to go on an elk hunt in Utah. That'll be the next thing I have. So I'm going with a good friend of mine, and we're gonna chase some elk out there. That'll be the next one. Yeah. Never get tired of elk hunting.
It's crazy. You know, we Texas is Texas. We shoot deer out of blinds, that sort of thing. We're used to that routine. But until you actually go out and experience Western hunting, it's just like, it's unlike anything you've seen. Just the scenery, and you got to be fit. I mean, you can't go out there and play around. It's not like you're going to grab a cup of coffee and go sit for 4 hours. It ain't happening.
Yeah, but you know what though? It's the funny thing about hunting is just like, for me, you know, I've hunted in Texas a lot, and I just got to tell you, I love it.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
And
I think, you know, that's what we talk about that a lot with our different hunters that we appeal to, is just that hunter though, how do they manage their property and how they set things up, and they just got to be incredibly relentless about that, and just the discipline to be patient and do it the right way. And, you know, Western hunters struggle with that a lot, where it's like, no, we got to get out of this blind. Well, no, you don't. Yeah. You need to stay right there, because this is going to happen. Yeah. It's just, you know, but the discipline to do that. I mean, there's a relentless aspect to whitetail hunting that I think is fantastic. And so I love it, but I love all of it, you know. Yeah. I think it's all a different experience, and it's cool, and you train a different way, and that's what makes it fun. The whole prep up to it is almost as good as the outcome. So
I don't know about you, but my wife makes fun of me. If I'm going to someplace like Alaska or Africa or something like that, I know I'm going to be in the middle of nowhere. I can't have access to anything. I always, number one, overpack. And I take over a bedroom, and I start packing 3 weeks before the trip. I got stuff laid out everywhere. And then as the weeks go by, as I get closer to, you know, to takeoff day, I'm like, okay, do I really need these things? Do I really need those? That sort of thing. Are you the same way, Bruce? Because I know you got a lot of toys. I know you do.
Exactly. I'm exactly the same way. And I got a pool table downstairs at my house, and my wife does it. She said, that's not a pool table. That's a gear staging station. Because it never doesn't have gear on during the hunting season, because I'm always like either unpacking or packing or setting it out and laying it out. No, I'm going to need that. And what don't I have? But yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah. That's the fun part for me.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I'm pulling everything out. I'm like, do I really need 2 rangefinders? Well, you know, I'll be out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think it's subconsciously, it's just the ritual of bringing stuff out and going, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I didn't need a new rangefinder this season, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's I like.
You know what happened just there? There wasn't enough motion in the room, and the light went off.
That's okay.
We're not having a hurricane, I can assure you of that. But I got to stand up and turn the light on.
It's the tsunami.
The tsunami's coming.
Tsunami's coming. I talked to you. I willed it in. That's not good.
You've jinxed the state of Oregon, Bruce. Well, listen, man, it has been a pleasure to talk to you today. I'm sure we could talk for another hour about hunting stories and all that sort of things. But folks, go check out Leupold's website at Leupold, Leupold, like I have to spell it, but Leupold.com. Bruce Pettet, the president and CEO of Leupold Stevens, we really appreciate your time, and keep up the good work. Keep bringing the cool stuff to us, man.
Hey, thank you very much, guys, and we appreciate what you do. And you guys are always invited to come out for a tour. I'd love to have you out, and we could do a podcast here. So
that'd be cool.
On our way.
Ooh, that's a big
love you to see our factory.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Bruce. Have a great weekend.
Hunting Matters is a Houston Safari Club Foundation production, hosted by HSCF Executive Director Joe Bitar and Ramon Robles. Produced by Ramon Robles. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. For questions or more information, email us at info@wehuntwegive.org.